Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is Brianna, aka Hug by Brianna, and as you can tell, I am not in my usual spot. I am back at home, not in my apartment, so that means I have a lot more space to work with. And that means we're going to try to make as much things as we can this week. I will show you what I've been working on since I've been gone for a while. I just haven't posted in a while, to be honest, but I have been crocheting. So I'm going to show y'all what I finished when I got here, and then I'm going to take y'all along with me as I finish some more projects that I'm excited to share and see the outcome of, because we're pushing our creativity this summer and we are incorporating a lot more fabrics with crochet and not just purely crocheting everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all a blanket that I made for my friend's baby that's on the way, and then I also just finished a top that I started before I went to St. Lucia, but I was like, I'm not gonna finish it before I leave, so I'm just gonna hold off on it. And I finally finished it, so I'm going to show y'all both of the things that I've been working on, and then we'll go ahead and get into our new projects and concept that we're going to go for. So here is the shirt that I just finished. It is based off of a shirt I have from Urban Outfitters. It's basically like the same shape as it. I used it as a guide for what shape this was. So I worked with a bunch of different stitches, just trying different things out. And then the shell stitch when all else failed. This is just like a mixture of doing one single crochet stitch and then one double crochet stitch and just alternating. And it made a really stretchy fabric that I really liked. This is one double crochet row and then one row like what I did right here. And then this is where I did my little knitted look like I did for that dress on my last tutorial. I did the ribbing here and here, and then I couldn't get the top to close, so I did some ribbing. So I did some ribbing on this side so it can stretch a little bit more. It's supposed to be asymmetrical, but it just doesn't stay asymmetrical when I actually have it on, because I did make this side shorter than this side in this section, so it's supposed to be up like this, but I can make it up like that, it just doesn't do that on its own. And here's the back, it's pretty much just like the front. We'll pull it down so you can see everything. And this is not underwear, by the way, this is just some shorts. So yeah, here is the shirt, and then now I'm going to show y'all the blanket that I made. I made this like a week ago, but I'll go ahead and show you now. I want to do the little dramatic opening that they do on TikTok because it looks so cool. You'll probably see me do it on TikTok too when I show this off. But let me show it to you. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so I used fabric as the squares instead of like granny squares. And I definitely did this on accident, but it looks like flowers in between each square. So I really like that. And I feel like it's a great summer baby blanket. It's really cute. I did want it to be a little bigger than this, but I don't know, I guess I did some math wrong, or I just didn't do as many crochet rows in between the squares as I wanted to. The squares are definitely a little uneven, but it's definitely not noticeable, and even if it is, it's patchwork, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But yeah, so this is the baby blanket, and I'll definitely be making a full-size one for myself because it's so cute. Plus I have a bunch of extra squares left. So yeah, this is the blanket, and now we're going to get into the projects that I'll be working on for the rest of the week. Maybe just project, because I'm kind of being ambitious. I want to do my graduation dress because I graduate in December, so I want to start working on that, especially while I'm here, so I don't have to do it in my apartment because I don't have as much space in my apartment as I do here. And I also want to make a skirt of some sort. Not sure exactly how I want it to be yet, but that's what you'll be seeing me make. So let's go ahead and get right into the rest of this video. I'm so sorry that I'm still staying in here, but my camera's on the brink of death. This has good lighting, and my camera's plugged up in the wall right here. So just gonna stay right here for a little bit. I promise won't be here for the whole video, but I just need to at least get some charge so I can still record the important things. But this is the inspiration for what we are making today. It was going to be a fully crochet and fabric skirt, but then I was like, well, I guess jean is still a fabric. But I was like, if I have some jeans, why did I touch my phone like it will actually clear, and it actually did. That's so funny. But anyways, I realized I do have some old jeans here that I'm obviously not going to wear. So if some jeans fit good, I feel like I could do this. And this will be a cool way to mix up fabrics as well as crochet. Because I was like, I bought all this fabric, I don't know what to do with it. Honestly, I'm going to use some of the fabric to make myself a blanket that I just showed y'all. But I feel like I could use all of the materials in a skirt like that instead of trying to make a fully skirt. Because I don't really know what to do. I bought the fabric because it was pretty. And that's it. So now we have to make it work. So I'm going to go ahead and show y'all the fabric. And then I'll actually move to the workspace because hopefully my battery is good enough by then. Here's my workstation right now. I already started thinking about what I'm doing because I didn't know I was gonna film until right now. But here you can see I have the jeans. I need to try them on and see how they fit. And I also just couldn't tell which color I like more. I also have this blue skirt, so I was using it as a reference to see which denim color I would like since it's kind of a similar blue to the fabric I have. So this is the fabric we're working with. This one's kind of like a jersey feel, but I like how it looks like a painting. And then I have this lace because I feel like it'll be easy to crochet into, because I know with that I'll have to poke holes in it to crochet it, and sometimes that hurts my hands. I experienced that when making the baby blanket, so that will definitely give me a break from having to hurt my fingers all the time. And then this is the yarn. I've been using True Blue for basically everything lately. And then I also bought a zipper because I didn't know what I was gonna do. I'm gonna return this stuff if I don't use it, so yeah. Then I got 2 different color ribbons because I was gonna make it very similar to this skirt because it has ribbon on it too. So I was like, this would be cool to make, but I just don't see how I can actually use all of these different fabrics and crochet to make just this little mini skirt. So I think I'll be doing something like the reference picture if these jeans fit well. So that is what we're working with now. I'm gonna let this camera charge, and then I'm gonna try on the jeans, pick out which jeans I want to use for the skirt, and then I will keep you updated. So unfortunately, the dark blue jeans are out of the running. I did like the contrast more with the blue because I feel like this one blends in more. And I don't know if I want to do something that blends in or something that, you know, stands out. So I decided to try these green ones because they fit like capris now. I wear these in high school, so it's crazy how different the size fits. It isn't as stretchy as these are. But I don't know, I don't really like acid wash jeans anymore. So it's really hard for me to try to like it. I feel like this will make the skirt stand out more because this cargo green and blue just aren't a common thing that goes together, but I think they work enough. So I think I might just cut both of them because they're both skinny jeans. I'm not gonna wear skinny jeans anymore, and then I'll see how I feel. But right now I think I'm going with the green, especially since the floral blue fabric has a spot of green in it, so I feel like that can tie it together. So here I'm just using my mini skirt as a reference for where I want to mark on the green green pants, so I can know where to punch holes to crochet into. This is the same method I used to make the baby blanket. You basically just punch holes into wherever you want your stitches to be. I also have a really old video, probably from 2 or 3 years ago, where I show how you can crochet into fabric, so I'm basically just using that method and crocheting the bottom of the skirt. Now I'm just cleaning up the line a little bit because I was struggling with this. Just a PSA, I am not a sewer, so this is kind of like my first big sewing project, but instead of sewing I'm actually just crocheting everything together, but it's basically the same thing. So it's probably uneven, but to my eye it looks the same, so it's fine. And you can also see that I did cut the bottom of the pants into some shorts. It's gonna end up being a skirt just because I know it'll probably be short, and it's just a lot more comfortable wearing a short skirt when it is a skirt. So I'm just going to try to keep these pockets functional by crocheting only through the pockets for the front and the back pockets, and then I will be crocheting and using fabric to create the bottom of the skirt, just like my reference picture. Now I'm using a 1mm crochet hook to poke a bunch of little holes along the white line that I just drew. The white line will disappear. It's like whatever came with my sewing kit, so you don't have to worry about doing it over or under the line. But I'm just going to poke as many holes as I can, and that will be about the same amount of stitches I'll end up crocheting later. So most of this footage right here was blurry, so you won't see exactly how I started crocheting into it, but here's what it's looking like. And I basically just stuck my hook into 2 holes at a time and created a single crochet. And I basically went around the whole skirt with the single crochet, but I made sure to not go all the way through the pockets and only to go through the first layer so the pockets would still be functional. And after that, I started a row of double crochet and having an increase for every other double crochet. So I would do 1 double crochet in 1 stitch, and then the next stitch I would place 2 double crochets, and so on. And doing this would create a ruffle, and after that I would just do additional rows of double crochet until I reach the desired length of the first layer. So this is what the finished crochet layer looks like, and I'm just figuring out how I want the second layer of fabric to be. So I'm basically just going to cut 2 strips for each fabric so it can have side seams, and I'm just lining up the lace that I already cut with the painting looking fabric, and I'm making sure that the scalloped edges of the lace is longer than the solid fabric, just so it'll look nice. I don't know, I just like how it looks that way. I'm just going to cut those into strips as evenly as I can, which is not that great, but it'll work. Hey y'all, so I did take a little break for the last few days, but now I am back working on the skirt. So since I don't know how to sew, I basically used a small hook to poke through both fabrics. So it's basically like sewing them together. Probably would have been a lot faster if I didn't know how to sew, but we got the job done. And I feel like it looks a lot cooler layered instead of having them like one layer this, one layer that, because I feel like having the lace on top allows it to blend a bit more. So I like how that is. And basically what I did was I cut very uneven strips, mind you. But I cut some strips, like so, and then I pinned them with some pins, of course, and I tried to make the scallop end a little longer than the base fabric right here. And after I pinned them, I would just step on the fabric with my foot and poke it through, try to make it as even as possible. And I don't mind if it scrunches up a little, because I am using a small hook, because I need it to scrunch anyway, because these strips are longer than the front and back half of the skirt, because I also want it to be ruffly. As a reminder, this is the skirt. I mean, I'm sure y'all probably just saw it. I haven't seen this in a few days. So basically, I'm just going to put this under the crochet layer. It's probably best if I show you it flat. I'm struggling right now, so I'm going to show it to you flat so you can see what I'm talking about. So yeah, I just feel like adding the fabric under the lace adds a lot more dimension, and with these chains I can also sew it onto the ruffle right here, because I don't know how other way I would connect it since I don't really know how to sew. So I'm going to use these chains and use my yarn needle and sew them together, and I think that'll work out fine. And then yeah, I like how this adds some more color to the skirt, and I think it's a nice finish. So yeah, after I finish making the back part of this little layer, I'm going to sew them together, and that should be all I need to do for the skirt, because it is a skirt, so it doesn't matter how short it is. For being real, as long as they're long enough as shorts, that's okay at the bare minimum. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this, and I will update you once I start sewing this on. Oh, and I will insert a clip of how I actually did this part, just in case if I didn't explain it well, because I feel like I was just rambling. So I'll also have a visual representation up for you as well. So here I'm just using pins to pin the 2 fabrics together. It doesn't matter if one fabric is longer than the other, as long as I just pin it where I want the ends to fall, because the top of the fabric won't be seen. It'll be covered by the crochet layer. So I'm just going along both strips with these pins so I can single crochet them together like how I single crocheted onto the base of the skirt. So another method to crochet into fabric, instead of poking holes all the way down and then going back and crocheting through those holes, you can just do that at the same time. So you can grab your 1mm hook and then poke downwards through the fabric and then poke back up so that you can insert your yarn. So at first I just pulled my slip knot through, and now I'm just going to poke downward and back up, yarn over my finger, pull through, and then create a single crochet. And I just do that along the whole row of fabric. So again, instead of poking all the holes first, I'm poking the holes as I go and crocheting as I go. Hopefully this makes sense. I re-recorded this like 5 times, so yeah, hopefully seeing it will also help you understand what I mean by poking down, poking back up, and creating the single crochet. But yeah, that's what I do along the whole row of fabric, and I take the pins out as I go down. Okay, so now I made it to the end, and I think I scrunched the bottom layer more than the top, so I do have some extra, or the fabric was just longer, I don't know. So I just cut off the extra like I did for the first piece. And I'm thinking I'm going to crochet the front and the back layer together so I can like evenly distribute it on the skirt. So I'm going to grab this first piece and then I'm going to just slip stitch it together for now, and I'll probably sew the sides together later. I'm just going to do that and then leave a really long tail for sewing. Hopefully this is a good amount. And then I'm just going to cut that. And then chain up, tie off, like so. And I don't know if I already should connect the ends as well. I mean, I guess it's no hurt in doing that, so I can try to make sure I distribute it as evenly as possible. So I'll probably slip stitch the other side together too. So after slip stitching the other side together, I just grabbed my yarn needle and started sewing the fabric onto the crocheted ruffle. So I went about 2 rows up for the crochet ruffle. That's where I decided to sew it into, and I did that for the entire row. I didn't like count 1 stitch and then sew the next one or anything. I just scrunched the fabric up however I wanted to under the crochet layer and just sewed wherever the crochet layer fell onto the normal fabric. Hopefully that makes sense too. I don't know how else to explain it, but again, this is why a visual is so important. So yeah, and sometimes I would skip some stitches. It wasn't really necessary to go into every single stitch, especially because I didn't create the same amount of stitches on the crochet ruffle that I put on the fabric. So just play it by ear and you'll probably be good to go. After that, I finally sewed the sides together. So I just turned it to the wrong side facing me, and then I just single crocheted the sides together by poking the hole through one side of the fabric and into the other, and doing the same method that I've been using this whole video on how I crochet onto fabric. For the sides, it's kind of like how you single crochet the ends of something you crocheted together. So like when I do ribbing, this is how I close off my ribbing. Or if I'm crocheting 2 panels that I made, I use the single crochet stitch to crochet them together. So I'm basically doing the same thing here, but with fabric instead of a fully crocheted item. And this is what the right side looks like once I was done sewing the sides together. Here is the finished skirt, or skirt, and the shorts you can fully see, and the pockets are also functional. So now we'll be moving on to the graduation dress that hopefully we have enough time to finish before I go back to my apartment. Instead of doing my graduation dress, I think I'm going to make a long white patchwork maxi skirt with all of this different white fabric that I have. Right now I've been working on this thick waistband, and yeah, I think that's just a better use of all of this fabric I got. And I already have a white graduation dress, so I think I'm going to make my second one black. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do for right now. Plus I have plenty of time to work on my graduation dress, so just wanted to give y'all that little update. So I laid the original maxi skirt down on the ground, and I cut fabric according to how those tiers laid down, I guess. So as you can see, I finished crocheting the waistband, and then I did a lacy layer, a solid floral layer, another lacy layer, and I plan to end off with a crochet layer at the bottom, but I didn't end up doing that. I also did not film more of this skirt because it's just like the mini skirt I made, just more fabric choices. And yeah, so I just crocheted along each fabric and then sewed each tier together. And like I said before, I left the bottom not crocheted all the way to my feet because I don't want to have to worry about it snagging on anything. Plus I liked how it looked. It's definitely not as flowy as I want it to be, but I still think it's pretty cute and girly. But thank y'all so much for watching this video, and hopefully I can get some more videos out to y'all soon. Peace.